We've hit part 5, and this is where the plot thickens. We're talking about Medicare primary exceptions. You see that big yellow warning sign? That's your brain on COB shouting, "Don't just assume Medicare is primary." We've learned the standard rules, right? But what happens when the primary payer isn't Medicare? That's what we're drilling into right now. These exceptions? This is where your deep understanding of COB logic truly sets you apart. This isn't just about knowing the rules. It's about knowing when the rules have a twist. Get ready, because we're diving into those pivotal scenarios where a group health plan steps up before Medicare. You ready to find those hidden dollars? Let's go.
All right, you see this? We're not just navigating, we're cracking the code for special plan types. Look at that maze. That's what it often feels like trying to sort through COBRA, individual plans, or figuring out the true payer of last resort, right? All those twists and turns. But then, bam, you hit that straight shot. Automatic primacy. You see that orange arrow? That's our direct path to the finish line. Why do we love that? Because sometimes the code is already cracked for us. Think retiree plans. Medicare is automatically primary. You identify it, and you're blasting right through that maze. No detours, no complex eligibility dance. That's the kind of clear-cut logic we celebrate. Straight to the finish, identifying those automatic primary scenarios. Efficiency for the win, every time.
The active employment link. You see that title? It's everything. The standard MSP rule, it's crystal clear. Medicare is secondary only when there is active current employment. Only! Did you catch that? This isn't a maybe, it's a hard rule. So, what triggers this? We verify those working age provisions, right? First, the employer must have 20 or more employees, 20 plus, not 19, not 10. And this next part is critical. The beneficiary or their spouse must be currently working. Either one. Get that detail down. What does this all mean in practice? Look at our trusty scale. When active GHP employment is in play, and primary, look how heavy that scale is on the left. It's weighing down Medicare, making Medicare secondary. GHP is shouldering that load. This is your working age scenario, where our beneficiary is 65 or older, actively employed with a large employer, and bam, GHP is primary. Are you seeing the elegance in this? It's not just a rule, it's a system. Let's lock this in.
Let's talk about the heart of Medicare secondary payer logic, the circuit breakers. Look at this. This diagram beautifully illustrates how severing the employment link triggers automatic primacy for Medicare. You see that big old switch right in the middle? That's your active employment status. When that switch is closed, meaning we have active employment, boom, your GHP coverage is flowing right through, acting as primary. That's the blue line, solid and strong, indicating GHP is taking the lead. But what happens when that circuit opens? What happens when we sever that employment link? The moment that switch flips to open, triggered by one of these specific scenarios, the blue line stops, and bam, the orange dashed line lights up, signaling Medicare primary. It's automatic, remember? No debate, no negotiation. Medicare steps right up. So, what are these crucial triggers that open the circuit and make Medicare the undisputed primary payer? 1. COBRA termination. Coverage ends, employment link severed. 2. Retiree past service. The member is no longer actively employed. This is a classic one, isn't it? 3. Individual no group. No active group health plan available through employment. 4. Last resort safety net. When there's absolutely nothing else, Medicare is there. It's the ultimate safety net. You see how cleanly this works? It's not a suggestion, it's a circuit breaker. Once that employment link is severed under these conditions, Medicare automatically assumes primary responsibility. That's power. That's how we find those overpayments, identifying when Medicare should have been primary all along. Are you seeing the beauty of this logic? You're going to be a COB master, I'm telling you.
Let's talk COBRA. You see this bridge icon? What's it telling us? It's that continuation of coverage right after employment ends, right? The current employment link is broken, but COBRA is there to bridge that gap. Now, check out the rule here. Medicare pays primary, COBRA pays secondary. Is this always true? Is it that simple? Not so fast, COB Master. This is where we sharpen our skills. This rule applies when a member has COBRA coverage and is also Medicare eligible.
The moment Medicare becomes effective for those Medicare-covered services, Medicare absolutely takes the lead. It steps right in as primary. But don't let this oversimplify it. If someone has COBRA before they're Medicare eligible, COBRA is their primary. But when those Medicare Parts A and B kick in, boom, Medicare is primary. It's all about those effective dates and the sequencing of coverage. That's the COB magic we're after. And that complex logic leads us right to this template. See how perfectly it applies? Since the member is enrolled in a COBRA policy effective, Medicare should be primary for these claims. We nailed it. We've identified the overlap. We know who pays first. And the kicker? This information has been communicated and confirmed with Medicare representative. That's the gold standard, isn't it? You're not guessing, you're verifying. That's how we ensure our primacy logic is rock solid.
The legacy, retiree health plans. This is where things get exciting because we're looking at coverage that's a benefit of past service, not current labor. Did you catch that? No current employment status means Medicare leads. That's the golden rule here. And look at the detective work. When you see a subgroup NM like Target Inc. retiree with no Medicare or a group type code that's just retiree, what does that scream to you? It screams opportunity. It screams Medicare primary because there's no active employment to consider. We're talking about a classic MSP rule, right? When someone's retired, boom, Medicare steps up to the plate as primary. So your template, your action plan becomes clear. Since the member is enrolled in a retiree policy effective, Medicare should be primary for these claims. You're identifying that effective date, you're flipping the primacy, and you're making sure those claims are paid correctly. This is precisely how we become COB masters, by recognizing these crucial indicators. Are you seeing how these pieces fit together to unlock massive accuracy improvements?
Let's talk about the solo path. We're diving into individual policies, and this is where you really hone your MSP wisdom. Look at this concept. On the left, you've got a massive group plan, right? Hundreds of dots representing all those employees. Then, over on the right, what do you see? Just a single dot, a lone wolf. That's our individual plan. You see the visual difference, right? It's stark. And why does this matter? Because MSP rules, our incredible Medicare secondary payer rules, only apply to group health plans. Think about it. No group, no employer-sponsored coverage, then what happens? No MSP. Simple as that. Which means, you guessed it, for individual plans, Medicare is primary, period. No ifs, ands, or buts. You are locking in that primacy decision the moment you confirm it's not employer-sponsored coverage. So, what is an individual plan, truly? It's coverage purchased privately, not through an employer. It's direct-to-consumer insurance. This is why it doesn't trigger any of our complex MSP working aged, disability, or ESRD rules. The employer simply isn't in the picture. And this, my friends, is your template, your gold standard finding. When you confirm a member is in an individual plan, Medicare is immediately primary for those claims. This is the information you've communicated and confirmed with your Medicare representative, solidifying that primacy decision. You document it, you build those claims, and you move on. You're finding that money for our clients, unlocking those primary Medicare dollars. How awesome is that? This is straightforward COB, pure and simple.
Buckle up, because this is where we cement a foundational rule that can trip up even seasoned pros. We're talking about the safety net, the payers of last resort. Look at this diagram. We've got Medicare, federal insurance, right at the top, and Medicaid/TRICARE, our state aid and grants, below it. The arrow from Medicare to Medicaid says pays first. But then, the arrow from Medicaid back up to Medicare declares pays last. Wait, what? Pays first and pays last? You might be scratching your head, thinking, which one is it? This is where we nail down that crucial hierarchy. Don't let the arrows confuse you on this. The key is in the text, people. We've got a definitive statement here. Medicare is a federal program that supersedes state-based aid. Boom, that's our first clue. And then the ultimate clarifier. Since Medicaid is payer of last resort, Medicare is primary for these claims. Did you catch that? Medicaid is always the payer of last resort. Always. What does that mean for us as COB analysts? It means if a beneficiary has both Medicare and Medicaid/TRICARE, Medicare steps up to the plate first. It is primary. Medicaid/TRICARE will only come into play after Medicaid has paid its share. They are that final safety net, picking up what's left over if they cover it.
So, when you see a claim involving both Medicare and Medicaid, your COB instinct should scream, Medicare is primary. No ifs, ands, or buts. This is a non-negotiable COB rule. You get it, right? Because you're becoming a COB master. Let's keep that momentum going.
Let's talk about spotting the signals. This is where you become a detective, right? You're looking for those critical data points that tell you exactly what's going on with a member's group status. We've got our eyes on 3 key areas here, and you've got to train your brain to zero in on them immediately. First up, group type code. Look at it right there. That drop-down is your absolute primary indicator. Why? Because it can tell you explicitly if a group is active, COBRA, individual, or, boom, retiree. See it highlighted? When you see retiree there, what's your immediate thought for Medicare Primacy? Say it with me. Medicare is primary. Yes. That's a huge signal for us, telling us exactly how that plan coordinates. But we don't stop there because we are masters, right? Next, you're always looking at the subgroup name. This is where you get those golden context clues. You might see something like retiree with no Medicare or active post-65. That subgroup name is your backup, your confirmatory evidence, or even your challenge to what the group type code says. Is the group type code saying active, but the subgroup name screams retiree post-65? That's an accuracy error, and we love finding those. You're cross-referencing, you're connecting the dots, you're building that complete picture. And finally, if for some reason those first 2 aren't giving you the clear picture you need, or if you're validating, you're going to check the size desk. This is that backup logic. You're checking for groups with fewer than 20 employees or more than 100. Why those numbers? Think about our MSP rules for working-aged and disability. If a group is under 20, Medicare is likely primary for working-aged. If it's over 100, the GHP could be primary for a disabled member under 65. It's all about those layers of logic. So you see it? Group type code, subgroup name, size desk. These are your triumvirate of truth tellers. Master these and you're truly operationalizing how we spot those crucial COB signals. Keep hunting for accuracy errors, team.
Look at this. This is where the rubber meets the road, where we take that identified special plan type and turn it into a concrete action, a status, a resolution. We start with identify special plan type, right? That's our initial catch. Now, what happens next? We've got 2 clear paths here, 2 ways this can go. Path 1, the green light. If, after identifying the special plan type, we've confirmed primacy, specifically primacy confirmed, boom, that's a win. You've applied those MSP rules, you've checked all your boxes, you know Medicare is primary. What do we do immediately? We update MedPrime to Y. That's a non-negotiable data update, locking in that Medicare primacy. And then, yes, we move to status 513. That green checkmark? That's the sound of success. It means Medicare is primary, and we've closed the loop, coordinated those benefits. That's what we live for, isn't it? Path 2, the question mark. But what if the data isn't so clear-cut? What if we've got needs verification conflicting data? This is where you, the COB master, shine. We can't just guess, can we? No way. Our next move is to initiate employment verification. We need the facts. And then we pivot to move to status 204. See that blue question mark? It's asking us to get the answers. We're putting that member in a holding pattern, waiting for that crucial employment verification data to come back so we can make the definitive primacy call. So, from one starting point, 2 very different but equally critical paths to resolution. Are you seeing how we either confirm and close, or we initiate investigation to get to that confirmation? That's the power of this workflow.
Let's talk primacy. You're seeing the core templates for determining Medicare's role. This isn't just about data entry, it's about accuracy. First up, retiree. If your member is on a retiree policy, Medicare is primary, period. Our GHP is secondary. Are you locking that in every single time? You should be. Next, individual plans. Member in an individual plan? Medicare is primary. No employer plan, no complex GHP rules, Medicare steps right up. Easy win for accuracy, right? Then, COBRA. Don't let COBRA confuse you. If your Medicare-eligible member is on COBRA coverage, Medicare is primary. Always check those effective dates, but for COBRA, Medicare takes the lead. Another one for the Medicare primary pile. And finally, Medicaid. This is a foundational principle, COB Masters. Medicaid is the payer of last resort. What does that mean for us? Medicare is primary. No exceptions. You're flagging these immediately and correctly, aren't you? That's precision. These templates are your cheat codes for consistency. Nail these scenarios, and you're well on your way to COB mastery. Keep that data clean.
Boom. We are talking about getting fast here, COB Masters. Identifying these special plan types early is your secret weapon. Why? Because you prevent all that unnecessary, complex, working-aged analysis. Think about it. You don't need to dig into employer size or active employment status if the plan type already tells you what's up. This accelerates your entire audit lifecycle. Let's nail this primacy checklist. Each one is a quick win for you. No active employment? You've got Medicare is primary. No deep dive needed. COBRA? That means employment ended, doesn't it? Again, Medicare primary. Save that time. Retiree? Absolutely. Past service, Medicare is primary. So straightforward. Individual plan? No group, no employer contribution, no group health plan to worry about. Medicare primary. And Medicaid? Always, always the payer of last resort. Medicare is primary. See how quickly we can establish Medicare primacy with these special plan types? This is next-level efficiency, cutting straight to the correct coordination order without the extra steps. You're not just identifying, you're optimizing your audit workflow.